Hi you guys, I'm Peyton. Welcome back to Philbrook. Today I'm going to be talking about purple passion vine. So this is Passiflora incarnata, also called maypop. And just to give you a little bit of perspective here, so this is a piece of Philbrook that not a lot of people see. This is actually our Collins property. So it is to the south side of our property here, and we have our high tunnel over here, which is a greenhouse structure that we have that we do most of our native plant propagation and growing in. So that's just kind of letting you know where we are here, but this is the plant I'm going to talk about today. This is a native plant here. So this is a perennial herbaceous vine. It's native to the southeastern and south central United States. So you will see it widely across Oklahoma and Texas. As you can see, it is very vigorous. This is 1 year's growth, so it is a perennial. It will die back to the ground in the wintertime, and it grows again from its roots in the spring. A lot of us know it from its very unique and otherworldly looking flowers. These are commonly grown as ornamental plants, even though they are very aggressive, but they also have a long history of medicinal uses as well. So today I'll talk a little bit about making passion flower tea. It is really, really good for stress and anxiety. It's known for its sedative effects, so it's good for nighttime teas, for anxiety and stress relief, and things like that. All aerial parts of this plant are edible, so anything from the ground up, so its leaves, stems, flowers, and fruits are all edible, but in moderation. So it produces a compound called cyanogenic glycosides, which when consumed in large amounts can release cyanide into the system, which in large amounts can be poisonous. So this is actually a defense mechanism in some plants to keep herbivory down. So they have the best chance of growth and reproduction. So just so you know, and I'll talk a little bit about the fruits here. So this is the most commonly eaten part of the plant. It produces those little passion fruits, and they are edible when ripe, but should be avoided eating when they are not ripe. And that is because of that compound that can make people sick if they ingest too much of it. So a good rule of thumb for harvesting ripe passion flower fruits are you're looking for when the skin of the fruit is a little bit wrinkled. So if it's shriveled up a little bit and it has a nice yellow color, that is a good indicator that it is ready to be harvested and can be safely consumed. Another thing that you can look out for is when the fruits fall off of the vine. That's also a good indicator of ripe fruits, but sometimes, you know, if things do fall to the ground, they can have bugs and things like that. So just really look for that yellowing and wrinkling of the outer shell of the fruits. And if you do break it open and the seed membrane has a nice golden yellow color to it, that is also a good indication that it is safe to eat. And the seeds and the flesh of the fruits can be eaten and can be used in pies, jams, jellies, juices, things like that. So that's a little bit about the fruit here. It is a very, very popular item for wildlife. They, again, don't eat a ton of it because it can be poisonous if they eat too much of it, but it is widely picked over by squirrels and things like that too. But it is, today we're gonna talk mostly about the flowers and the leaves, because these are what contain the most medicinal properties of this plant. So I have taken the liberty to snip a few of the vines from this plant, and I hung them to dry a few weeks ago. So usually if you're pulling and drying herbs or plants for your own use, it's nice to hang dry them in a cold or cool and dark place, like a closet, a pantry, something like that. But just make sure if you cut a stem like this and you leave it to dry, if you want to cut more than one, you can bunch them together, but don't put too many in a cluster just to avoid spoilage, so you can maximize aeration. So these plants are able to dry out thoroughly and evenly and not have any crowding or cluttering issues. You can also utilize this plant fresh for teas. It is better dried often because they're a little bit more potent whenever you remove all of the water from these plants, but you can do these fresh if you would like. But it is always important, no matter what you are foraging, to wash what you collect, to just make sure that you are not getting yourself any dirt, any bugs, pesticides, etc., anything like that that could potentially be harmful to your system. So rinse these in cold water, soak them, swish them around, take them out of the water. If you're going to use them fresh, dab them dry. But it is the leaves and the flowers that we like to use for tea. So usually, typically people say, you know, a teaspoon per cup of water, plant material, but it also just depends on what you have available to you and how strong you want your tea. So most tea brews are, you steep the tea leaves anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, but again, depending on how potent and how strong you like your tea, will depend on how long you steep your passion vine for. So not only is passion vine really good for medicinal uses, for that relaxation, for sleep aid, and for anxiety and stress relief, but it is also really good in the landscape as far as pollinating plants and filling up space and gaps in your landscape as well. Thank you guys so much for joining me today at Philbrook again, and I will see you later.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.